Hi guys, I'm Deepa Boli from Kolkata, and I'm just a regular person who has had a YouTube channel forever and never really done anything with it really. But I do get onto YouTube a lot, and I'm subscribed to a lot of channels, and so I watch things like funny roasts and revisits and lifestyle advice. And some people do those things where they get clothes from a certain website, try it on, and then they tell you whether it's worth it or whether you should order from there or not. And a lot of cooking channels. And well, what really felt was like one thing that is missing is like a layman review channel. Like like during this entire period of lockdown, I've been getting back to my reading game, and I seriously read a lot these days, like a maniac. And I'm always on Netflix, on Hotstar, on Prime, and I'm watching different shows, and I'm watching a lot of movies, and not all of them are Bengali or Hindi or English. I delve into Thai, I delve into Japanese shows, I have Chinese shows on my list. I have like shows from all over. And like I thought that since I'm doing all of this and there is a dearth of this on YouTube, I feel maybe there are channels that I haven't come across, but this is something that I think I would like to do. I would like to give you a layman's opinion on books, on web series, on films, and well, that might help you decide whether you want to read that particular book or start watching that particular series or take the time out to watch that movie. So yeah, that's the idea. And this is the first video that I'm doing, and I've decided to start with a book review. And it was very difficult, let me tell you, because I'm a serious bibliophile. I read so much, and from like one end of the spectrum to another. Obviously, there is a level. I mean, there are certain authors and certain books and certain genres that I would never touch, apart from maybe using it for toilet paper, really. But like you name it, like from the serious stuff to the paranormal romance stuff, from what is considered teen novels to what is considered really, really complex. From I have favorites from like classics. I have like Wuthering Heights is one of my all-time favorites, and then there's also Gone with the Wind, and then there's also Twilight. So you get what I'm trying to say, right? Like I have a huge spectrum. So but the book that I have chosen today, and it was a difficult decision because I was like, oh my god, there are so many books, how do I choose? But I decided to go with a very popular one, something that all of you must be aware of, unless you've been living under a rock for the last, I don't know how many years. I mean, love it, hate it, whatever it is, but you cannot tell me that you do not know about the world of Harry Potter. Yes, so what I am doing today is a review of the Harry Potter series. And I know that at this point, a lot of you are just like cringing inside and going like, oh my god, she's starting off with a Harry Potter review. That means like she'll never do anything serious. So, okay, facts right there, guys. I've had this debate with a lot of people, okay, starting with like really close friends to actually really influential people, like an intimidating group of peers where maybe my opinion is not counted as much. But I don't care. I've always been the kind of person who's like had an opinion, and it's not going to change because it's not the popular opinion, or because if I say it out loud in a group, everyone might look at me weirdly. So I'm going to tell you what I told all the others who had a problem with this, that I was doing my master's from Jadavpur University, Department of English, in 2014 to I completed in 2014. I started in 2012, and during my post graduation in my second year, see, we had this system, like we had two mandatory courses that we had to do. Those were called the core courses, and then for the other two courses they were the optionals. So we were given a list of courses that were being offered that year, and these would usually be like niche areas, like it would be espionage or like specifically Shakespearean tragedy, and really specified fields like that. So you pick what you want to study. And one of the courses that I picked back then was children's literature. And the first book of the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on which version you bought, was already in the reading list. So, yeah, that's like an English honors reading list right there, and it's in the syllabus. So you really cannot put forth that argument anymore that Harry Potter is not serious literature. Guys, you need to broaden your horizons about what you consider serious literature, okay? And this was like way back in 2013 or 14, and now even Calcutta University has put Harry Potter in their syllabus. So yeah, do not give me that shit about Harry Potter not being serious stuff. Bro, it is. So having cleared the air about that, about how I feel about Harry Potter, and despite all these facts, really, I'm just a Potterhead. And even without giving all these facts to you, like, I wouldn't be ashamed to admit it. Now, a lot of you might be sitting on the bench about, like, do I read Harry Potter? Do I not read Harry Potter? Maybe you've always had that interest, but you felt like, is it worth it? Or will people judge me if I read Harry Potter now? I mean, maybe you're like my age. So, like, if we go by the timeline and Harry's birth year, really, I'm 2 years younger to Harry. Yeah. So, if you're like, say, my age and you haven't read the Harry Potter series, but you've been considering it. So, this video is kind of like to give you guys that push, and I'm just going to tell you like why I think you should read it, why I think it's like really great to start with Harry Potter, or like if you've shelved it for some reason, pick it back up again and go at it. So I grew up with Harry Potter because when the books started coming out, I was like a preteen, and it wasn't really famous in India back then. So I just happened to come across it in an obscure bookstore, and I looked at the pretty red and golden cover at the train in front, and it said Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I've always been into fantasy, like ever since I've been a child. I think when I was 3 or 4 years old, my favorite things to read were fairy tales. And so you get the picture, yeah. So I've always had this love for fantasy and the supernatural and paranormal romances and all that. Yeah, little twisted down there. So I picked up the book and I read the blurb at the back, and I opened the. This is something that I always do. Like, do not judge a book by its cover. That is very true. So I opened up the first page and I stood there and I read the first page, and I felt like, hey, I want to read this book. And I turned around to my dad and I'm like, please, can I get this book? And I had a very indulgent father. I've always had like a very indulging, understanding, supportive family. Thank you guys. So he got me that instantly. I mean, when I was a child, there was rarely anything that I asked from my dad, and I did not get. So I came home. I started reading that book. I got addicted to that book, and I just wouldn't put it down. And I finished it, and then I looked it up online, and I figured that outside India, it was already beginning to garner fame, and it was beginning to garner like a cult following. So I started getting the rest of the books and I started reading them. And I do not remember if Philosopher's Stone was released in India, but I do know that I probably missed it because I bought the DVD and I watched it at home. But I do remember that when Chamber of Secrets was going to release in India, and by then, like, the Harry Potter franchise had become a huge thing. And we didn't have multiplexes back then. Like, this is when I was really little, and I'm going to turn 30 this October. So yeah, that was like a really long time ago. Damn, I'm getting old. Anyway, back to the topic. Sorry. So yeah, so it was coming to this theater called New Empire in an area in Kolkata called New Market. And I immediately like went up to my father and I'm like, Dad, this movie's coming and we all have to go and watch it. And my brother is actually 5 years younger to me, so he was like a tiny little thing then. But we all got tickets and went and watched that movie. And I came back and I was like so blown off. I was like, oh my God, they've done such a good job. And my mother had this one thing to say. I still remember. She was like, ooh, I love the snake being the basilisk. Yeah. And this coming from a woman, mind you, who hates snakes, who's like snakophobic. I don't know what that the word for it is. Like, I'm arachnophobic and I shudder at the I watched the movie. I loved the movie, but that day and till today, I think I watched half of Chamber of Secrets like this, like always speaking, because I'm like, I cannot stand those creatures that must not be named. So arachnophobic, yeah. If you don't know what arachnophobia means or what it is that I'm afraid of, go Google it up, but don't make me say the word, okay? Yeah. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I grew up with Harry Potter. Like, I was turning older and Harry was turning older, and there's like this remarked difference. Like, the first book, you could say that it was meant for children. Okay, yeah. Maybe even the second, although like things are already starting to get grimmer at this point. But from the third book onwards, like Prisoner of Azkaban, bro, does the story like take on another complete level. And even if you notice the movies, like that darker shade like really does start coming in from Prisoner of Azkaban, and that is when like mysteries from the past begin to be solved and questions begin to be answered, and you get to know more about why Harry was the chosen one. And there are these minute details that if you've just watched the movies, you might have missed. And this is why I will say that even if you just watch the movies and you think you know Harry Potter, bro, go back and read the entire book series, because movies can't be very long, right? I mean, they can't stuff in every little detail that J.K. Rowling has written about into the movies. So they cut out a lot of stuff. But those who read the book will understand what I'm talking about. Like, Harry did not ask to be this person, this the chosen one. He wasn't born with the mission of being the one who would vanquish Lord Voldemort, the supervillain of that time. No, if you read the book, you figure out that that was really, I mean, Voldemort making a random decision, because the prophecy that was made about the one that would kill Lord Voldemort, it could have easily applied to two people. And it was just unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know what you'd say, that Voldemort picked Harry instead of the other person who could have been it. And thus, Harry, when he was a year old, lost his parents, lost pretty much everyone close to him, and became the orphan and became the chosen one. And then lived a miserable life up till 11 years old at his aunt's house, Aunt Petunia, who's his maternal aunt, like his mother, Lily's sister, Petunia. And has this obnoxious family which consists of her husband, Vernon, and her son, Dudley. And then suddenly he discovers that there's this whole world that is meant for him, and it was never shared with him. And Hagrid is infuriated. Hagrid is the one who comes to get him, by the way, and he's infuriated by the fact that Harry knows nothing about the world that awaits him, the world where he is meant to be. So thus begins Harry's journey. And all of a sudden, Harry's in this magical world and he's trying to like figure things out. And that's where the story begins, really. But it starts getting a little complicated book by book. And as I said, from the third book onwards, it starts getting really dark. Like, yes, it started out as like a children's series, but I guess like we grew up with it. So Harry was growing up, we were growing up, and all of a sudden, like things were starting to get complicated. And if you think like, how can I pick up Harry Potter right now? I mean, come on, it's a children's series. It's really not. It's only like what, the first book, that'll feel like, okay, maybe this was written for kids to you, but third book onwards, bro, you're in for a ride. And those meticulous details that you might notice in the first book or the second book or the third book or whatever, like details that might seem innocuous in the beginning, like, like, okay, fine, this is just a piece of information out there. But by the time you reach like the sixth book, it all starts coming together. Like J.K. Rowling is now tying up the ends, and minute details that have been given to you in like the first few books, and suddenly that clicks and you're like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. So what I'm saying is that, first of all, the point is that excellent writing. Oh my god, J.K. Rowling, excellent writing. And let's keep in mind that when she wrote this entire series, when her first manuscript was ready, she was in such a depressed and dark place, and she was struggling to make ends meet. And the manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was actually rejected so many times before it was finally taken up by Bloomsbury and released. And boy, everyone else who rejected her manuscript must have been like thumping their heads on the wall after the success it received, like really. And see, this is the thing with fantasy writing. Like, it's really not as easy as you think it is. I mean, creating this entire parallel universe, and it has its own rules, and it has its own words, its own lingo, and even its own currency. I mean, I have tried to calculate what like a gallon would be like equal to in rupees, and I have like miserably failed. So yeah, creating the currency, the animals, the entire universe with all its minute details, and doing it so brilliantly, like hats off to you, J.K. Rowling. Like really, you're like my superhero, yo. So yeah, but apart from that, like other reasons why you should read the book. First of all, like such an in-depth and rich plot. Oh my god. And certain revelations that come right at the end that make you look at certain characters in a completely different light. Like you've hated this character from the beginning of the series, and then all of a sudden, in the end, you find out something and you're like bawling your eyes out, and you're like, oh my god, I've misunderstood this man until the man died. Like, what just happened there? And like when things are explained and you go back and you revisit those scenes and you understand that it was so brilliantly written that you were made to believe something, but it was, what was going on was actually something else. And the writing, the plot, everything is so smooth, it's rich, and it's tied together in the end. And just it's wow. And it's like, if you've still not like decided on whether or not you should read Harry Potter, this is the time. Pick it up. Like everybody's under lockdown, we don't really have a lot to do. Pick up those books and start reading them, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. If you are, come back, comment on this video, say what you like, whatever. Just like give it a shot, bro. Okay. Apart from that, I would also like to point out like certain amazing facts about the series. One being that the central character, Harry Potter. Now, this completely average boy, really, I mean, if you read the books, I mean, he's not even supposed to be like conventionally good looking or whatever. He has messy dark hair and lopsided spectacles all the time, and he's not your traditional good looking superhero. Like, you pick up a paranormal romance, and the vampire hero over there will be like this gorgeous creature who looks like a Greek god and all of that. But Harry, no. Harry's like this regular kid, always just trying to fit in. And it's almost like this title, the chosen one, has been slapped on him, and some people despise him for it, and some people revere him for it. But honestly, he's not asking for your reverence, he's not asking for your hate, he's just stuck with that poster on his forehead, and he doesn't really even know what all of it means. I mean, when you get to the end, a little bit of a spoiler alert, like the things that he finds out, I mean, wow, like Dumbledore hid that from him from day one. And finally, when he gets to know that, and he knows what he has to do, he knows that this is not going to be easy, but he does it anyway. And that takes a lot of courage to give yourself up for dying, because that is the only way that you can defeat the villain. I mean, yeah. So also, like, look at the fact that Harry keeps losing his, like, supposed family one by one. I mean, people whom he considers family. He really doesn't have anyone left, but he discovers people throughout the book, and then he also steadily loses them. And God, and he's the one thing about Harry Potter is that, like, he's not this picture perfect boy, okay? He has his gray areas. He makes errors in judgment. He has temper fits. He fights with his friends. It's all there. Like, this is a character who is so relatable. And if you were growing up with Harry Potter like I was, and you were going through that entire rebellious teen phase, at the same time that Harry was going through it, and at the same time that you were developing feelings for romantic feelings for your own sex or the opposite sex or both the sexes or whatever, and everything was so super confusing, and you could just come home to these stories, to Harry Potter, and feel like, whoa, this is normal, it's okay. Look at all the shit that he's going through. If he can survive that, I can survive my life. And this is not just a feeling that I have. Like, I read somewhere in an article that they did this survey with, like, my aged people who have grown up with Harry Potter, and a lot of them have said the same thing, that they've had terrible childhoods. And I'd say I haven't had a great one either, but all of us have this one thing in common, that Harry was kind of like a therapy session for us reading those books. Yeah, because we derived that strength from there. We were like, we looked up to Harry because we were like, Harry's not losing it, we can't. So Harry was like a support system for us, and that's like an amazing thing. And so much awareness about mental health has become like quite a thing right now, but I can tell you that when I was a kid, it wasn't such a thing. And it wasn't normal for you to go up to your peers, your parents, your elders, and be like, you know what, I feel so depressed, like I feel sad without a reason, or I have body image issues, or I think this, or I'm throwing up voluntarily after every meal. Like, they'll tell you, maybe we should like take a change of scenery, go for a vacation or whatever. And going to a psychiatrist was taboo, it meant you were mad and all of that. So yeah, you had to find your own coping mechanisms, and for a lot of us, Harry Potter was that coping mechanism. And that's amazing that a series of books did that for so many people, for me, and continues to do that. That's just amazing. And another fact, I know that I've been rambling on for too long, but I swear this is the last point that I'm going to dwell on, because I'm aware of the fact that I'm like bordering in on like a 25-minute video here. But yeah, there's just this one point that you cannot ignore about the entire Harry Potter series, is that it makes it so apparent that art is in the end really derived from life. I mean, this is another universe, this is a magical universe, and you might think that everything that they are dealing with in this book is completely different, but no. I mean, especially if you look around yourself right now, or even if you take like disastrous episodes from the past, like Hitler, like a lot of like the failed communism effort in China, like the disaster that Mao wreaked upon China. And I'm not even going into, like, there are so many out there, oh my god. And right now too, if you look around, really, without taking names, I can tell you that you see a lot of those tyrannical regimes coming back. And what is Voldemort if not the embodiment of a flawed and tyrannical regime in himself? Because this man who calls himself Lord Voldemort was actually at a point of time a boy named Tom Marvolo Riddle. Now, if you did not know this, and again, this is something they have not really explained in the book very well, and just like the duality of who could have been the chosen one, and it was Harry. Well, here, let me tell you, Tom is the name that his mother gave him. Marvolo, his middle name, is actually his grandfather's name. And his mother had actually descended from a very, very highly regarded pure blood family that had fallen into bad times. Let me say that. So, Marvolo was actually his maternal grandfather's name. And Riddle is the surname that he always despised because it came from his Muggle father. Now, if you haven't already seen the huge plot hole there, let me point it out to you. This is a man who waged a war based on the principle that people with magical abilities are superior to the Muggles, and why should we stay hidden, and we should take over the world, and we should maintain the purity of the magical bloodline. And the very person who's advocating all these things is a half-blood himself. I mean, how ironic is that? Like, if his followers had an ounce of sense, then honestly, the first thing that they should have done is gunned him down, because he's half-blood, yo. His father was a Muggle. But it's just a case of like when you want to follow someone and because it serves your ends, because this man is speaking up for what you have felt for so long, he's speaking up for your cause, like you choose to ignore all the bad things, and in comes this like terror regime and like this constant threat, and people are scared to take his name, and they call him you know who and he who must not be named and all of that, and so many people get hurt on baseless reasons. And honestly, if you look around you right now, forget Hitler, forget like communist China, look around you right now and you can see a lot of those tyrannical regimes coming up again. And that is what I'm saying, that at the point when I read Harry Potter, like I was a lot younger and maybe I did not see all this. But right now, when you revisit all of that and you feel like, is it really different from what we face in real life, from what causes world wars, from why the world went to World War One and then two, and then at some point, God knows, I mean, I hope not that it goes to World War Three. So is it really that different? It's really a mirror image of what is going on in real life, in our lives, in the non-magical reality, if you call it, with us muggles. So if you think that, if your major barrier towards this is that, oh, it's magic and I don't really do magic and fantasy and all of that, then I would say that rethink it, because it's not just a series about a magical universe. It's something that is very relevant socially, politically, and it mirrors what has happened before, it mirrors what is happening now, it mirrors if it ever happens in the future again, like tyrannical regimes coming up, the Holocaust and all of that terrible shit. So yeah, rethink your ideas about Harry Potter and look at it freshly. Watch the movies, read the books, whatever. Just do it. And I don't think you're going to regret it. In fact, during these days, I've had a lot of my friends call me up. Friends who, mind you, during the time when I was reading Harry Potter during my teenage years, they were all like, we don't really do magic. These are the same people who are calling me up right now. And they're like, you know what? I just read the entire series during this lockdown thing. And then I watched the movies. And I realized how wrong I was about this entire thing. And it's actually really a spectacular thing to go through. So, yeah, it's made believers out of non-believers. And maybe it'll do the same to you. Maybe you'll end up liking it. So go try it out. And yeah, come back and tell me. I mean, obviously it's going to take some time. So come back and tell me what you thought. And if whatever I said, this long rant of half an hour, if it was of any help at all. And if you like what you heard for so long from me, then please subscribe and spread the word. And I will be back with reviews for web series, reviews for movies, reviews for more books, and there's going to be a lot of variety, let me tell you, because I believe in exploring the entire spectrum. No, you're not going to get Chetan Bhagat from me, mind you, and you're not going to get like a review of 50 Shades of Grey, not all that, but yeah, there will be classics, there will be popular fiction, and there will be Wuthering Heights, and there will be Twilight.
Powering
So that's
off.
what I mean. So yeah, bye for now then. Yep.